this is just a quickie. It turns out that the Dukes of Hazzard episode I saw as a kid was an episode called Arrest Jesse Duke. um, and it was filmed in Santa Clarita and on that Warner Brothers lot that's now owned by Disney. That big, and now it's an empty field, but it was a lot. So apparently, I thought it was Manteca, but they look similar. It wasn't actually filmed there. It was filmed in those two towns. And it's likely that in the early 80s, my parents went to those places, and there's no pictures, evidence of it or anything, but yeah, we traveled around a lot. I mean, we had that green van back then, and probably, or the camper truck, and the truck was a little before the van. So yeah, the truck would have been, so yeah, it did happen, but it wasn't in Manteca, it was in Santa Clarita, and then we went over to the other place. What was the other filming place? It was the town square, the one in Burbank, and all that, Universal Studios. It must have been a trip down south to go to Universal and stuff, because there are pictures of that. Like there's like me standing next to the Aces car from Aces and all that, so yeah. So as a kid, so we did go down there, and I mixed up the filming locations. Yeah, so I was definitely there, but I wasn't in the cast. I was just in the background, and it was like, what, is that 9? So it's not likely that yeah, you wouldn't find that on the IMDb, because I'm not an actor from the Hollywood visiting. But that's the Dukes of Hazzard story for you. That's all it was. It's interesting that it's similar. Yeah, they filmed a lot. They started in California only about halfway through season 1, and then they moved out to California, filming out there. And that was back when that Warner lot, that field, was owned by Warner Brothers, and now it's owned by Disney, which is kind of funny. And there's nothing there anymore. But this was a building out in front of a storefront thing. It very well could have been, that stuff could have been the other stuff. But I remember the distinct Jeep chase scene, which is in the episode Arrest Jesse Duke. And that was, let's see, what episode was that? Oh wow, it's earlier than I thought. The episode itself aired in December of 1979. So I was actually closer to 8. So yeah, you're 8 years old. Things are completely different than 8 or 9. I was just barely 9, it looks like. So yeah, when you're 9 years old, the perception of things happening are completely different than later on. And yeah, it's entirely possible that actually happened. And we were there, because people could go to the set and see stuff back then. So we went to the set. So it wasn't that we were surprised they were filming the Duke Boys there. We were there because the Duke Boys were there. Why else would we go to Santa Clarita and Burbank in 1979? Because they were filming there. We're going to go down there and see it. In December in California. Well, say it was probably wintry. Why did it look... well, it's California in the winter. So, yeah, it only gets a little rainy and wet, and then it stops, and it's pretty warm. So, I didn't say how cold or hot it was. It was fine, temperate. Probably high 60s, my guess. But yeah, and down Southern California, it's kind of desert anyway, so it was fine. How am I going to recall the weather at the time? But yes, the multicolored Jeeps chasing the General Lee, filming truck, chasing them. They did some takes. They did some action scenes, and we got to see that. That's awesome. So we all got to see it. So that's probably why we were there. So there was always a surprise appearance. So no, we were there because they were filming the show. So we went down there and watched it. It was like, of course, because on the CB, Dad was the Troubadour. So we'll see it. We'll see the Dukes of Hazzard, of course. Yeah. So there's the Dukes of Hazzard story. Apparently, the 2005 one was actually filmed at Manteca, so there's some confusion there. But I was not involved in the 2005 one either. That strange travesty of Willie Nelson playing the Uncle Jesse. I wasn't involved in that one. No. or in any of them really. I'm not a super fan like some of these guys on the net that are like, oh my gosh, gotta collect everything. Yeah, it would be nice to have a generally car again, but yeah, it's a toy. But yeah, I'll get the car again. But I used to have the cars and stuff, all that. I like the Dodge Chargers. I like the car, and I would totally like yeah, it's got the Rebel battle flag on the top, but it's like it's a show car. It's for, I don't think that's a problem. It's like you would know anybody having the actual '69 Dodge Charger RT, and you had to paint it up to look like the General Lee. I think anybody would know. Okay, that's from a TV show. It's a show car. Yeah, it's not racist. It's not supposed to be. It's a TV show car, and there it is. Yeah, so it's your TV show car. Anyway, so yeah, so there's yeah. So I also do a fairly good imitation of a Georgia accent, kind of a little bit. Sounds a little something like Oklahoma and Texas, but this could be Georgia, I guess. South somewhere. It's a fake accent, but so were theirs. Tom Wampat was from Michigan, and John Schneider was from New York. It's like, but yeah, Catherine Bachman. Actually, Cyril Boop was kind of from there. So anyway, I think, but I think the one that was actually James Best wasn't necessarily from, but he could really play the part, and I think yeah, they got played music. Yeah, Roy Schroeder? Sonny Shoiner was actually from there. Sonny Shoiner was. But yeah, we didn't get to meet them when I was 9. I don't think, because we would have kept that. We would have been like, oh, we met them, cast. No, we didn't meet them, but we got to stand there sidelines while the cars raced around. It's awesome. Yeah, what were they gonna say to some 9-year-old kid like randomly walks up, with his older sister and watches the Duke boys go by? What are they gonna say to that? But yeah, yeehaw. But yeah, that's my Dukes of Hazzard story. Now, so it wasn't Manteca, it was Santa Clarita, it was Burbank. That's actually where it was. Yeah, down Southern California. Well, it's the South, kinda. Yeah, there was Burbank. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't get pictures of that. It's odd. But no, it wasn't Manteca, turns out. Unless they were doing second unit stuff there later in Manteca or something. Or what's likely is it's mixed in with a later story from maybe that has nothing to do with Dukes of Hazzard. Maybe there was a later, because there were fans of the show. Maybe it's mixed in with a later event in Manteca. I tried to look that up to see whether there was a Dukes of Hazzard event as the show was waning down in the late 80s. And that's what I'm mixing the two up, conflating the two together, even though there might have been, actually, several of those. But there's no definitive, like, yeah, was it Duke's Day or something? Maybe it was 89 even for that one. And that would have been much later. But sure, but no, this was the Arrest Jesse Duke episode. It was 1979, December of 79, and episodes were filmed a few weeks in advance and then released. You know, it was back when you just filmed an episode in Hollywood. I knew about that kind of stuff. You film it takes about a week to film an episode, and then it's all ready to go, ready to air. So that's typical of Star Trek as well. About 7 days. Ready to go. Back in the day, Next Generation was about 7 days. So yeah, sometimes I would film episodes next to each other and just keep going. It's interesting they had some videos of that old set where they did all the stuff. Now somebody was walking around just a few months ago, I guess it was, walking around those sets that were now gone. And the mountainsides and all that. I was like, oh, this was where I was. Okay. Yeah, we went to this. That's where we were, and they all look kind of similar. The sets. Yeah, I remember there was. I remember that one of them, Schneider or one of them, was describing the paint on the grass. I remember that. pain in the grass. So I was at that, back lot, apparently. We went all around and went all around, explored the whole thing. I was a kid. Never went back. We should have went back. That would have been awesome. If we ever do a Southern California adventure trip, let's go to that Burbank place. Walk around over there. Even better if we ever go to a trip to Georgia, to Covington. They probably wouldn't let us anywhere in there, but if they did, I would want to go to the Dukes of Hazzard Museum there in Covington. And also the cooter one that's in Tennessee would be cool too. I want to see that too. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be fun. Covington, Georgia was the filming location of the Dukes of Hazzard for about 7 or 8 episodes the first season. So yeah. Most of the first season, really. I mean, the seasons back then weren't that long. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, that's funny. They used a lot of other footage as well. Yeah, so the car is harmless. It's a car. It's a movie car. They're gonna know it's a movie car. It'd be like if you had the villain car from like Batman or something, or the Bullet car or whatever. Somebody down the street once had a Bullet car. They put it up like Bullet. And actually, the noise of the motor in the Dukes of Hazzard is not a Charger motor. That's what they said on the website. It's from Bullet. They stole the sound effects. Sound effects from Bullet might have got them from somewhere else, though. They sort of appropriated them. I like the Hazzard horn story too. That's fun. Somebody had a Dixie horn. The director chased him down in his car and said, "I want that." And bought the horn from him. That was a true story. Confirmed the horn story. Yeah. And they destroyed about 130 cars out the whole series. Yeah. But yeah, they didn't interview me in the DVD box set because I'm not famous. So, but if they had, I would have said, yeah, that was filming locations. Here's where I was. Yeah. But it was so little, it probably doesn't register at all. Because, like, yeah, what? Wow, I'm surprised I remember it. But yeah, yeah.